This is Phil Rosebrook, partner at Business Mentors, and you are listening to Restoration Edge. So I've been in the restoration industry for nearly 40 years. And during that time, I've encountered a lot of great service providers, a lot of people that can really help restoration companies and help them scale or grow or enhance their business. And so I wanted to create a platform to introduce that to the industry and to the people that might be watching these sessions. And I also wanted to take the name of Business Mentors, which has been in existence next year. Gosh, next year we'll be celebrating our 30th anniversary. So I'm taking the name and brand of Business Mentors, and I'm backing these people because I stand behind these sessions. I stand behind these companies. I really find them to create great value for the industry. And so with that, I'm going to introduce Alvaro from One Tom Plumber. And Alvaro, first, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll jump into the One Tom story. But I want to know a little bit about who you are so people have some relevance or context to this session.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for having me on board. We're a huge supporter of Business Mentors and what you guys do. In 30 years, I didn't know it was that long. Wow, you've been around. You've been around for quite some time, so congratulations. And a little bit about
Thank you
myself.
for that.
No problem. But a little bit about myself, nothing too crazy. Well, I'm originally from Spain, moved to the States about 19 years ago. Came here for college and grad school. And like they usually tell you, your parents, when you're at a young age, they want you to like go there, study, get a degree and go become a lawyer, doctor, whatever it is. But I really found a lot of cool things in the restoration, plumbing, and the trades industry that really caught my attention. It was such a fun industry that I wanted to be part of. And I was lucky enough to meet Rocky after going to business school through Ben Grunstein, one of my best buddies. And they asked me to come down to One Ton Plumber when things were getting started. They needed help building some things. And I was like, okay, I love the challenge, love the opportunity. So I packed my things, moved to Cincinnati, and we started building something very cool and unique that it's the best thing that's ever happened to us.
Yeah, well, I think it is pretty cool and unique. Why don't you we'll kind of leverage off of that and tell us a little bit about what Rocky's built, what One Tom Plumber does, and how it all fits. Kind of maybe we'll jump into a couple questions there and how it fits into the restoration world and why that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is one of my favorite stories to tell, and Rocky would tell you the same thing. Rocky's built and sold over 12 businesses since he was 20 plus years old. He's always been a huge entrepreneur, someone that was a homeless person that didn't have anything. He came from nothing, and he had an idea, he had a mindset, and he wanted to build things while helping the people that he cared about. So after many businesses and many years, he got into the restoration industry. It was something that really caught his attention because some of the mentors that he had that were actually in the restoration space. And he built Icon Property Rescue about 21, 22 years ago. And he sold it finally to a private equity company a year and a half ago. So he's been a restorer for nearly like 20 plus years, something that he's loved and he's built and he sold for a multiple. He built it in a way that it became so attractive for other companies that they wanted to go after what he built. And another company that he built because he wanted to add something unique to keep growing his restoration and mitigation division was a plumbing business. And it all went down because Roto-Rooter is also here in Cincinnati, and they were a huge referral source for Icon. And Rocky was like, okay, these guys like are plumbers and they're getting all these referrals to us. This is amazing. But Roto-Rooter decided to start doing water mitigation work and getting into the restoration. So Rocky was like, well, I want to lose all the referrals that I'm getting from these guys. And at the same time, Roto-Rooter asked Rocky to consult them on how to build a restoration company. So Rocky's like, okay, I'm not only going to lose all my referrals coming from Roto-Rooter, they're also asking me on how do I build a restoration business right now. And Rocky was like, I'm going to help them out. I'd rather get a little bit of, of what they're building than a whole lot of nothing. And after he helped them out, he was like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to build my own plumbing company. I'm going to add a new division to Icon and something that is going to help me bring in more water jobs. That way, I don't have to pay more plumbing referrals. I can be less reliant on TPA work, and I can make more money, because I'm going to serve the customer twice, first with the plumbing and then with the restoration. And yeah, 5 years later, we are now in 112 locations, 112 territories
Wow.
and markets, 3 locations in Canada. And yeah, he built something unique that, I mean, which is pink. That no one would ever thought that a pink plunger could become such a big icon and really helped all the restoration companies grow their restoration side. And not only for restores, for other people to build a company that is recession proven, that
Hmm.
AI cannot take over, and something that it really generates revenue, something that everybody needs, which is plumbing and the pink plunger. So that's a little bit about
Yeah.
the story on how the whole thing got put together.
Okay. So this would probably be a double question here. I think I'm going to, in some ways, maybe answer my own question. But so the question is, what does somebody get from you when they buy a franchise, and why is that better than them just going and starting hiring a plumber and moving forward in their restoration company and having a plumber? So they're going to come to you. Why would they come to One Tom Plumber? Why does this make more sense than the solution of let's go it ourselves, go it our own?
Absolutely, that's a great question because I mean everybody is welcome, of course, to go on their own, find
Hmm.
plumbers, and do the whole thing on their own. I would say that being part of the restoration company and being part of the restoration industry and then the plumbing industry, I'll say that they're very different in one sense. It's way easier to build a restoration company than it is to build a plumbing company. You're dealing with more people, you're dealing with more jobs. And the thing about One Ton Plumber is that we already have a very strong nationally recognized brand. One Ton Plumber, the name is the phone number. Yes, people start recognizing the pink plungers everywhere. People see our vans not only in Cincinnati, but in Tampa. They see it in Long Island, New York. They see them in Chicago, in Austin, Texas, Seattle. Like people are starting to see the pink plunger everywhere. So that's a huge advantage. And not only that, we have a very strong, dedicated team behind the scenes that does all the digital marketing for our franchises. We build the Google
Mm.
business profiles, their websites. We post content on their socials all the time. And if we even reply to all the reviews that they get. Not only aside from that is all the support that we provide for our franchisees, because our fortunes are tied together. If our franchisees are successful, then we're successful. And I think there's a lot of franchisors out there that probably don't really spend or invest that much time on support to the franchisees. And I think that's what other franchisors lack that we don't. That we are constantly
Mm.
supporting our franchisees and making sure that they're getting better. So we have franchise business coaches that meet with them daily. We have roundtables with all of our owners. Like we're a huge family, and it's a family that is not only involved in the restoration side because a lot of them own a restoration business, but also a lot of like standalones and people in other trades that are growing. Like there's HVAC companies now getting interested in this model, electrical companies, construction. There's people that have been in corporate America that now want to build their own business and they see the value in going into the trades because that's not gonna die. There's a lot of people now freaking out with all AI coming in and taking over a lot of stuff. And the even cooler thing, I mean, we also have national partnerships with large companies and property complex companies that
Mm.
you're gonna get those accounts by having a one-ton plumber. That then, if you own another trades service brand or company, you can benefit from that as well. So it's
Oh,
we're
okay.
truly happy and involved. And now that One Ton Plumber is part of an even bigger ecosystem called Eversmith Brands, there's more opportunities for national partnerships, national accounts, other brands that are helping us. We have a bigger group that they're heavily invested in helping our franchisees be more profitable and making more money and generating more revenue and going big with sales. So it's truly part of a great group of high value individuals that want to grow, that want to scale, and want to bring in more wealth to them and their family.
Mm. No, that's a great story. Uh, so there's lots of rules around franchises and franchise disclosures and all that. But I don't know if you can give us like some case studies or some examples of success that some of your franchisees have had maybe how it ties into the restoration, or some of it could be growth, could be profit, it could be just great stories about people who come to you and said, "Hey, I joined One Tom, and this is what I got."
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I gotta be very careful on disclosing numbers and things that are not part of our item 19 in our FDD. But we have very amazing success stories. One of my favorites is this guy from you might know him, John Gabriel from Des Moines, Iowa.
Mm.
Came
Oh
from
yeah.
absolutely nothing, and he is a go getter kind of person, and he puts something in his mind, he goes after it, and he grinds and he just wants it, you know. And it's a funny story because we almost didn't award him a franchise because we were not very sure about how things were going to go, but man, he proved us wrong. He was exactly what he told us he was going to do with the franchise and generated a lot of money, a lot of revenue, and became with numbers that he was our rookie of the year actually at our last
Mm.
conference, because he put up numbers that no one's ever done in their first year, and he's helped the community, he's helped other people, and he increased more value with his restoration company.
That's great, and it's nice that it'd be nice to just throw out numbers and share everything. But I understand that you're in the world of franchising, you're very, very restricted on that. So I appreciate that, and thanks for that story.
Mhm.
One of the things I think is really unique about you, and I got a bit of a feel for this with your new vehicle wraps and your logo pack. But one thing that's very unique about One Tom is your branding and your colors and your logo and all that. And so, tell me how that evolved, and maybe some stories with that, and where why that's I guess why that's relevant. How about that?
So I think this is super important and it's super relevant because there's a lot of people in the trades that when they build a brand, and we're gonna have fun with this because there's a lot of people that build a brand around something they like, you know, that there's something that appeals to them, that is attracted to them, but they forget about the most important person when you're building a business, which is the customer. What does the customer like? Does the customer feel safe with your brand? Does especially in the trade, some people that are coming into your home and doing some work, whether it's restoration, electrical, HVAC, plumbing, roofing, whatever it is. So the cool thing is Rocky, with help of his son and Paula, his wife, one of the most amazing. I believe you met her at the show. One of the most amazing human
Oh
beings
yeah.
you will meet. They wanted to have this really cool concept of revolutionizing the plumbing industry, coming up with something that the customer will love and will feel safe. So we did a lot of studies that proved that over 80% of the calls, the plumbing calls, were coming from women. So that's where our brain started thinking like, how are we going to build a brand around the most important customer in plumbing, which are women? So how are we going to make them feel safe, make them feel welcome with like when people are coming into their homes, or
Mm.
even in the commercial sides? There's a lot of property managers that are women. So we wanted to do something that would be appealing to them and that will help them make them feel safe. Because when our plumbers are coming in with shirts tucked in, pink polo, the pink booties, pink gloves, and they always show up with a pink plunger, everyone loves that. And especially when you have in the commercial space, you want to have a very strong, clean brand that our customers and our tenants are going to feel safe and they're going to feel, you know, they're going to feel good about it. You want to give them the best possible value. So a very cool thing, the way they got started is Rocky, after talking about the Rotorua thing, how he wanted to build a plumbing company,
Mm.
he is very passionate about having phone numbers that are easy to remember. You know, it's like we're saying with Icon and all the other companies he built. So he found this company in Texas that he legit bought them out of business so he could keep their phone number. It was the 1866 plumber. And he bought that company out of business. He spent almost $500,000 buying them out just for the phone number because he wanted that number. He was like, I don't care how much it takes. We need that number. If you want to make this unique, it has to be 1866 plumber. When we were doing some research, then 866, we found out it's spelled ton. So we were like, not Tom, but ton with an N. And we were like, okay, it's going to be Tom Plumber will save you a ton of money. And we were partnering it up with some consultants that work with Procter and Gamble. They're also here in Cincinnati. So we were going back and forth on how many impressions does it take for a brand before the customer remembers it. So we came back to these consultants from Procter and Gamble and told them about one ton plumber will save you a ton of money. And they were like, okay, this is not going to work out, because ton, he translates to someone that is very heavy and sounds dirty. So people will not, they're not really gonna, they're not gonna like that name and that number. So they fired us as a customer. They didn't want to work with us because they didn't think One Ton Plumber was gonna succeed. But going back and forth, we found out, it's a true story. We found out about this guy, that his name is Thomas Crapper, and that's his real name. A guy from the
Mhm.
1800s that had a bunch of patents and inventions in the indoor plumbing sector. So that was our guy. We found them and we were like, okay, we're gonna use Thomas Crapper as our figure, as our guy, and have One Ton Plumber. The name is the phone number. So we went back to the consultants and gave him this new idea. One Ton Plumber, the name is the phone number, with Thomas Crapper as like as our guy, Tom, One Ton Plumber. And they almost told us, like, you guys are crazy. You guys are bringing us someone from the 1800s, and you guys want to be this new concept in the plumbing industry that everybody's going to remember. This doesn't make sense. We don't really want to do it. By this time, Rocky is fed up. Rocky's like, I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in these consultants. We keep going back and forth. Rocky, so when he
Yep.
gets very persistent, like, and Rocky's like, I don't get it. So he goes, I don't understand. One Ton Plumber, the name is the effing phone number. How can you not brand that? Like, he said that on a phone call in front of all these consultants and executives at Procter and Gamble. And there's a guy in the back that it was like, if you get the effing out of it, we might be able to brand it, and I think we can work with you. So one guy gave us a shot. They worked with us, and that's how the whole name, the brand, got put together. And thanks to Paula, as well, we came up with the pink plunger, just to
Uh,
target woman.
that's fantastic. I always thought the story of Thomas Crapper was legend. So that's real. Good, good to know. Uh, so we got through the branding part of it. I think that that's one of the successful parts of about what you've done. So the name is fantastic, the brand, the colors, that all makes sense. My wife would be a typical person that would distrust anybody coming into the house, and I think that sometimes the colors can put you at ease, and I think that's fantastic. I think all that makes sense. Um, Here, one of the secret sauces to what you do. I think what's beautiful. So from a marketing standpoint, I think this created a real competitive advantage for many of your members. Like they do something now that is different in how they've got both sides of the company, and or both sides of the jobs, from plumbing to the restoration side of it. How did that evolve maybe, and really what's the secret to that, and how does that leverage both brands and help both of them really succeed and stand out? Because the thing I will tell anybody listening to this is the restoration arm is not called One Tom Restoration. That is the plumbing arm, and the restoration is certainly independent. And so, how does that work for both of them and leverage both into both brands and help the marketing people become more successful and the business itself becoming more successful?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we always preach and we talked about is sales and marketing. Sales, sales, sales. Sales can solve mostly any problem that you have in your business.
Mm-hmm.
And there's never a problem saying, like, I have a lot of leads, or I have a lot of people to talk to, or I have a lot of people calling me to use me as their service provider. Now you can have people in the operations, and if there's no sales, there's nothing to manage. So one of the things that One Ton Plumber was brought into our restoration company, the main idea was to use it as a lead generating company, like it's another marketing arm for a restoration business. And the way that this happened is because when we used to go to commercial buildings to sell restoration, they were already using someone that was bigger than us, someone that they've been using for the past 20, 30 years, or someone that they really trusted. So it was very difficult for us to get into those commercial accounts that we really were aiming for. So when we built One Ton Plumber, we were like, okay, now we have the plumbing. Let's see if we can go sell that. So we started going with the pink plunger into these commercial buildings, dual branded. So we have One Ton Plumber on one side and then Icon Property Rescue in the other side. So when we were walking in, they were like, okay, you're not selling me restoration anymore. What do you got? And we were like, well, we're selling you plumbing. Well, do you have any plumbing needs? And immediately the eyes like became so big. They looked at us like we were a ghost or something, because they were like, yes, I have plumbing needs constantly. because I have hundreds of units to manage, a lot of tenants that are doing gosh knows what they're doing. And they gave us a list of everything that needed to be fixed because they call a lot of plumbers. They're not reliant, they don't come in time. And there wasn't a lot of companies doing emergency service that actually show up, especially after hours. So we were like, okay, we found the holy grail here, which is selling plumbing to commercial companies that will give us and help us generate a lot of revenue. So immediately we were building those relationships since the very beginning with all these commercial properties, restaurants, hospitals, assisted living, anything you can name, anything you can think of, all of them need plumbing. All of them. So we were going in, we built the relationships with the property managers, and when they had a big water loss, since we were there every single day and talking to them, our salesperson became best friends with them. When they have a big water loss, 50, 100, $150,000 job, they started calling us instead of calling the other restoration businesses. So then is when a restoration company started growing, especially with the water mitigation division, started skyrocketing. Now, this is not going to happen in a couple months. You have to build the relationships. You have to help your dispatchers and train them on finding those exact keywords because the plumber gets the first call all the time. So the dispatchers got to really know when is a plumbing call or when is a restoration call. Because like people and companies don't really call the restoration business right away. They call the plumber. So now it comes to us. And because the digital marketing that we do for all of our franchisees will help you rank really high on Google with all the content that we do. So when you look plumber nearby, One Ton Plumber is going to show up first. So then now you're controlling the lead since the beginning for the plumbing and for the restoration company.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Now you're getting paid to market, which is really brilliant. And I think that if I'm just looking down the road and saying, okay, AI is not going to replace plumbers, but I think AI can enhance that conversation and those keywords and pull that out really quickly and help turn that around for you. So,
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys are all over it. If not, there's some business consulting advice for you, one or the other. So, figure that one out. You'd mentioned earlier that you had partnered with a larger company, and so that
Mhm.
means maybe there's a bit of a change in your strategy or direction or what you're doing, or maybe just enhances what you're doing. And you can talk that a little bit as you tell me a little bit also where you're going. So if somebody's going to join one Tom, they're your partners and they're kind of your partners for life. So where's this journey taking all of us?
This is a fantastic question. It's something that, like everybody else, they're scared of change. And it wasn't just us, anybody when there's private equity companies coming in or other larger investor groups. So people have that uncertainty of like, what's going to happen? Where are we going? What are we going to do? And with us was completely different. We had a lot of private equity companies coming after One Ton Plumber because they saw the value, and this is a good thing for private equity companies being interested in a model like this because they know they work and he's helping all these companies make a lot of money. So there was a lot coming after us, but we found this one that um, came directly to us called Eversmith Brands that they really trusted and they really liked everything that we were building. And we met them a lot of times, and we never felt so sure that this was the right fit, not only for HQ to grow, but to help all the franchisees grow. If we wanted to take One Ton Plumber to the next level, we needed a larger group that could put this infusion of cash into the company, which they have done. That's one of the first things they said, that they were going to invest $10 million in the company to grow it and to help all of our franchisees. That's the first thing they did. And we were super happy and proud to be partners of them. We met with them constantly, and they also there's other brands. We have a sister brands that are part of this ecosystem, which are U.S. Lawns, that a lot of people may know, Clintar, Millicare, Prism Specialties Restoration, Kitchen Guard, the Seals, all home services brands. So here's the really cool thing about being part of an ecosystem of a bunch of brands in the home service industry, that you're gonna get advantage of those. You're gonna connect with those franchisees too. You're gonna connect with Eversmith brands that are experts that been they're also backed by the Riverside company who built Neighborly. So they really know
Mhm.
what they're doing on the home service industry. And now One Ton Plumber is backed by a very strong company, and it's one of the biggest things ever. And people may think, what change has happened? Where are we going? Nothing changed at One Ton Plumber so far. Everyone, same roles, same responsibilities. I might have a lot more work to do now, but you know me, I love this. I'm always on the run, and I love jumping in these things and talking about One Tom because I'm super passionate about it. I love this brand, and it truly is amazing what Eversmith Brands is doing for One Tom and all the other companies as well. And where are we going? So we see One Tom Plumber being one of the I hate saying biggest, but best plumbing company out there. We truly believe that we're going to have hundreds of new locations coming on board, which means stronger national brand for everybody and stronger revenue flows for every franchise location. So I truly believe in the next 5 to 10 years, One Ton Plumber is probably going to be the biggest and the best plumbing company in the United States.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I'm excited to sit and be a spectator and watch all that. So great job, guys. So I want to kind of get into sort of our closing and wrap up part of this. And so for a bit of a summary here, one of the things that I'd like to say, and one of the things that I liked when I bumped into this brand and said this is really interesting because we're in a world in restoration right now, and everybody's experiencing this. Claims are down, volumes down, competition's up. And I think that as the world of AI and just the economy changes, more and more people are going to start going after those same jobs that are out there. And so it's going to be important to find a way to stand out. And so I love the idea of the One Tom brand, which helps us. First of all, there is a reimbursement for our own marketing activities because we're getting paid and we make money and we're profitable in plumbing, and that gets us in front of the mitigation job. So we have first notice of loss, which I think is really beautiful. It's typically designed, and each market does something different because everybody is their own entrepreneur and their own business owner, but it's designed for commercial services plumbing, which gets you the commercial restoration jobs that we all want. So we're not chasing after these residential jobs, trying to figure out how we're going to collect from a homeowner who maybe is strapped with the inflation and challenges in their own personal lives, trying to figure out how they're going to pay 5,000 or 2,000 or whatever the deductible is. In some cases, it's 20 and 30,000, which is pretty crazy, but that is happening. So now we're getting there. We're getting ahead of those jobs. We're doing commercial services jobs. We're not fighting over the TPA projects and the ones that are micromanaging the work we're doing. And the jobs keep getting smaller and smaller. So there's fewer and fewer, and there's smaller jobs, and the competition is higher. And so that's why I love this One Tom model. I think that it helps differentiate us. So when in a restoration company, traditionally we would go out, we would talk to the brokers and the agents, and we're one of 17 different companies that are coming through that office that week, and maybe there's even more. And now we're not playing that game. We have a different playing field. We have a different game we're playing, and I think that's really beautiful. It gets us first notice of loss. We know about a job before the insurance company knows about it, before the property manager maybe knows about the extent of the damage, or before pretty much maybe the customer doesn't even know they have a claim yet, because all they thought was, I have a broken pipe and it's spraying water everywhere. So all those things I think are absolutely beautiful. I think that sets you up for success. That's why you're sitting here in this chair and we're having this conversation today. And so that's kind of my conclusion and close. But I want to give you an opportunity to maybe tell us anything that we maybe didn't cover today, and then ways in which they can get in touch with you if they have more information or wanted to know more about this process.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we cover a lot of cool stuff. It's always fun talking to you. And I know when we go to shows and you and I connect, we talk about AI, talk about these offshore things that we mentioned before. Like, there's a lot of cool things that are being implemented in the industry that are just awesome. And they're really cool learning about them. Nothing much for me left to say today, but other than if someone is interested in learning about One Ton Plumber and how they can build a successful plumbing company and help the restoration business grow, they can look for us at onetonplumberfranchise.com. They can fill out a form. There's a lot of information. There's franchise testimonials. There's podcasts on that website. There's a list of territories that are available, anything they need to know about One Tom. And there's even some investment stuff and averages of what people are doing in our ecosystem. So feel free to check onetonplumberfranchise.com, fill out a form, and we'll be in touch with you.
It's fantastic. So one of the things that I want to make a part of this podcast series is I really want to figure out a way to add additional value to the people who are listening to this. So I've talked with Alvaro, and this is a business mentors offer. You're not going to find this out anywhere else. It's something that I have made accessible to anybody who's watching this podcast, to people who are clients of Business Mentors. So I want to make you aware there is a discount that you will get that will be, I don't think it's a coupon code, but if you mention Business Mentors, there is a $5,000 discount if you sign up for the franchise. You were watching this, there's value add right there. Boom, there you go. And I thank Alvaro for being able to set that up and offer this additional, you won't find anywhere else discount. This is something exclusive to this, and I'm happy to offer that. I want to thank Alvaro and the One Tom Group. I'm passionate about this franchise. I think it works. I know it works. I've seen it work. I've talked to the members, and so I'm excited about it as well. And so that's why we're sharing this today. And that's that's the offer that I'm going to be able to extend to you. So thank you for that. And before we close up, is there anything else you'd like to say, Alvaro?
Nothing. I'm super excited. Thank you so much. Once again, congratulations for 30 years with Business Mentors, and everything you've done and built for the community is amazing. We love having you at our shows. Looking forward to seeing you again, as well as all the partners and people that make One Tom Plumber such a great company. So thank you for this.
All right. Okay. So I'd like to thank everybody out there for listening to The Edge, the people and products that are making a difference in the restoration industry. And so stick around and we'll have some more coming up. Thank you very much.